Hi, how you going? Welcome back. Okay, so in this session, we're going to cover off the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are plan, prepare, and then play. You see, if you set yourself up to do anything and you don't plan properly and you don't prepare properly, your play is going to get interrupted. So let's make sure you have all the things you need. There's nothing worse than starting a project and being unprepared. So this session will cover the setup process and will ensure you have an enjoyable experience as you go through and you learn how to do your candle making. Okay, so what is required? First up, you do need a stovetop, okay? So these portable stovetops, one I've got here, I'm not sure if you can see it. It's a double electric stovetop. I've used them for years. They're portable. I can put them on any bench. The fact that they're electric is a little annoying at times. I don't know if you've got an electric stovetop or ever had an electric cooktop at home, but sometimes it takes, once something boils and gets hot, it takes a long time for electric to cool back down again. So that's the most annoying thing. You can use your cooktop at home. You can use gas. You can use many other things as well. I know people that use the rice cooker. Some people say, "Oh, can I use a microwave?" Look, it's what you have at your disposal and what you can make work. Okay, we're going to learn through this course on a electric cooktop, but you can use your own cooktop at home, and if it's gas, that's fine. At this point in time, I probably wouldn't use the microwave. Let's just work with a cooktop, and then you can adapt your process down the track. Okay, so cooktop, check. Next thing we need is what we call a double boiler. Now, a double boiler, it's a little bit like a bain-marie, okay? Or it's a makeshift bain-marie. So it's really just a pot inside a pot with water. Usually you can use any pots, any size. Again, you could have a bigger pot. If you don't have a cool little melting pot like this, you could use another bigger pot, put your smaller pot inside, that'll work. Then you just need to have yourself a pouring jug to pour your wax later. With your double boiler, we also need a trivet, okay? Now a trivet, it sits in the bottom of the pot because it's what you need to stop the pot from dancing about, okay? So other trivets can look like this. Give you a couple ideas for your trivets. So these are ones that you can pick up just in your $2 shop. It might be $5. This one's quite high. See, if I bought this one, the legs are a little bit high. I would probably just push those legs in to make that work. Also, you've got to make sure the trivet you get isn't too big for the pot that you're going to use. So if I was buying this trivet, clearly it wouldn't fit in that pot. Okay, so think about that when you're picking your trivets. A couple little tips for you on your trivets. Back in my early days when I first started, I didn't have, all the right equipment. So I just ransacked the house and found a whole heap of stuff that I could use in the house. Now, I think in my early days, I used those steel egg rings. Okay, remember those steel egg rings? You might still have some in your utensil drawer. So that'll work as a trivet. I also have used 2 teaspoons in the bottom of my pot to act as a trivet as well. And if you happen to have, you might have these, if you bought one of our kits with this course, it wasn't mandatory, but if you did have them, you would have got one of these wick holders. So that can sometimes sit, when I've got 2 of these, I put 2 of these side by side and it sits as a trivet in the bottom of the pot as well. So that's quite handy. So think outside the square. If you can't find an exact trivet to fit your pot, but anything will do. And again, the trivet is just used to stop the pot from dancing about if and when your water boils. We don't necessarily need boiling water when we're melting down our wax, but sometimes, especially if you're using electric cooktops, it'll boil before you know it, and then it'll take a while to cool down. So that's what the trivet's for. All right, so we've got our melting pot. You definitely need digital scales, okay? Digital scales, very, very important, totally mandatory. Again, local $2 shop or Kmart, probably the cheapest place to pick up some digital scales. What else we need? We need measuring cups, okay? So we're going to be weighing our fragrance. So you don't necessarily need the measuring cups on the side, but you just need some cups that you can actually pour your fragrance into and weigh things. So I use these as my measuring cups. Then we definitely need some paper towel, okay? You will use copious amounts of paper towel. Even though soy wax is definitely water soluble, you need to clean up. It's a bit like when you use your cooking oil at home, you know, with what you've got left over in your pot. You don't pour that down the sink. Typically, you'll tip that out into the bin. Then I would hope that you would get your paper towel, wipe out the pot with the any excess left in there, and then you use hot soapy water. So you're going to treat your soy pots the same way as you would with your pots that you cook your vegetable oil with. So paper towel. This paper towel, if you can get paper towel like this one that just breaks into half pieces, oh, it's awesome. That's my favorite type. So what else have we got here? So paper towel we've covered. Now we need stirrers, vegetable peelers and pliers. Okay, so any type of stirrer. I've used these items. You know, it's kind of what works best in your pot. You know, I've got these little pots here, right? But I also use larger pots as well. This is my 400 gram pot. This is my 1 litre pot. And then I've got a 2 litre pot. So when I'm using my 2 litre pot, I need a bigger stirrer. So think about the different pots that you'll be using, making sure you got yourself a decent stirrer. We need a vegetable peeler. That's going to be used later on for when we show you how to do colour. So you do need a little vegetable peeler. You also need a little pair of pliers. Don't get big pliers, not necessary. Just again, local $2 shop, best place to pick up most of your stuff. So nice little pair of pliers. Always good to have a couple of pegs in your equipment. I'll show you what we're going to use them for later. You definitely need a ruler, okay? A must. This is what we're going to use in the art of wicking segment. So make sure you have yourself a ruler. The scraper. Scraper's really important because this is what we use to clean up our bench. So later on when we get into our candle making session, we're going to spill drops of wax everywhere. But, you know, I just leave it there and let it set because I later on just come along with my scraper, comes off nice and easy. And then I wipe it down with some paper towel and good old alcohol spray. Make sure you got yourself some alcohol spray. Then we have ourselves, definitely need a calculator, okay? So you've probably got a calculator on your phone. If not, grab yourself a, maybe get the app on your phone or get yourself a separate calculator. I find the separate calculator better just so I don't have my oily soy fingers touching the screen of my phone that I've then got to clean later on. Thermometer. Again, if you get one of our kits, we'll give you one of these candy thermometers in the kit. Always good. I will say be mindful and careful when you're using these. These are glass and I have broken a few in my time. So they sit on the side of the pot like so. And so if I've then got myself a steel stirrer, okay, and I'm stirring too roughly, I've cracked a few that way. So Yeah, not bad. Always good to have as a backup. One of my favorites over the years has been just a digital thermometer that I got from a local kitchen shop. So that was always one of my favorites. These days I do use an infrared thermometer. I will say very hard to get right now and very expensive right now. So if you can get your hands on one of these, good on you. Then we already spoke about the melting pot that you'll need. So again, if you get one of our kits, we'll provide a little melting pot as well. So you'll be using that. And you will need a scoop. Okay, this is going to be for scooping those lovely soy flakes into your pot. So make sure you got yourself a bit of a scoop or a big spoon, again from your accessory drawer would be quite good. A couple other little things which will be handy, which definitely will come in handy. If you can get yourself some blue tack. Okay, I'm going to show you a really neat backup trick with blue tack and a pen and paper, or preferably a pen and a candle journal or a candle diary. So if you have yourself a dedicated diary, you're going to be able to jot down a lot of things that you're going to have to do only once, and then you can always refer back to your candle journal. So definitely highly recommend that candle journal. I've used one for years myself. Oh, and I almost forgot scissors. Scissors are definitely important for cutting wick sometimes. Well, I'll also show you we've got some wick trimmers as well, but I do prefer my scissors. If you are going to get scissors, I want to make sure that you get some long nose, long arm scissors, and also just make sure the profile on them is a gradual profile. Some scissors you can get are quite steep in their cut. You want a nice gradual profile. I think I picked these up from, I'm not sure, it could have been Spotlight. I think I went and tried a whole heap of different scissors until I found the ones that I like. I didn't know there were so many different types of scissors. All right, so I think that's about it. Oh no, one more thing. And you're going to love this. Okay, you're gonna need a heat gun. If you don't have to run and get yourself a heat gun, but because you can use a hairdryer as a backup, okay? But I'm going to be using a heat gun in our sessions, but you can use your hairdryer, all right? So if you do want to get yourself a heat gun, because I know you haven't even started, but if you just know you're going to love this anyway, you can probably pick up a heat gun from Bunnings. Round about $50, $60, I think you can find one for. If you do buy one on eBay, just be mindful that I know I bought a couple on eBay and each time they came with an American outlet. So I used to have to use an adapter. So these days I just pick mine up from Bunnings, and it probably usually lasts me about 3 years. So that's not too bad. You'll be glad you got one, I promise. All right, well, I'm getting excited for you. So let's cover off in the next round. We'll cover off what supplies and raw materials you're going to need. All right, I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.